Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. In case you're new here, my name is Laura and I'm a PhD student of Comparative Literature in Germany. And on this channel I make videos about the origins of fantasy and science fiction literature, about Gothic literature and about literary theory, especially on hermeneutics and aesthetics. So if that's something you're interested in, I welcome you to check out my other videos as well. But today we're talking about the second Gothic Literature Festival to be held in Germany in the beautiful town of Bacharach in the Rhine Valley from the 1st November to the 2nd November of 2024, so just last weekend. I've been attending as well as I've been attending last year's first Gothic Literature Festival in the middle of November 2023, also in Bacharach. And if you want to compare both of the videos and the impressions, I can link the video up here and below in the description that I made last year, the first Gothic Literature Festival ever to be held in Germany. And I also spoke to the inventor and founder of the festival, Hans-Lothar Huhn, to ask him what is that festival even about and why he came up with the idea. So if that's something you're interested in, just check it out. And today I want to show you some pictures and videos I made during the festival and give you my impressions. I will start out with my first impressions that I just made on the last day of the festival on Sunday after waking up and just recollecting what my impressions were. It was a beautiful sunny morning, so I hope you enjoy the beautiful sunny view of the vineyard behind me. I will talk about everything that we've done and seen during the festival. And then I have an interview with Selina Schuster for you, who is the author of a modern Gothic novel. So I hope you enjoy the interview. And in the very end, we will just wrap up the festival and I hope you enjoy the video. So it's Sunday morning after the festival, the Gothic Literature Festival in Bacharach. It is the second time that I've been attending and I wanted to give my first impressions. So in comparison to last year, this year's was a lot bigger. We had the whole of Friday evening and the whole of Saturday, a lot of program and readings, and I will talk about it in more detail. And I will also show you a lot of pictures. Last year we only had the reading of the actor Roland Jankowski, who has a great voice for reading Gothic literature. And he was reading parts of the novel Frankenstein by Mary Shelley in the Peterskirche, which is a very famous Gothic church in Bacharach at the Rhine. And it was very atmospheric and beautiful. They had neon-colored lights illuminating the whole church, and you could see all the intricate details. And I've been there this time as well, but we had a lot more program this year. So the program started Friday evening in a wine cellar with a reading of the author Ulrike Serowy, who is a German author, and she's been reading from her novel Highway to Hell. Reading was very interesting and funny, and after that we did a ghost tour through the village of Bacharach. And we were told a lot of old stories and myths from the Rhine, from the Lorelei, and the Werner Kapelle, which is also a very important Gothic ruin here. And I learned a lot, and it was very spooky as well. And afterwards we went up to the Werner Kapelle and we had a big fire there and were just chatting and having Glühwein and having a nice evening. And on Saturday, we started the day with a walk to the Burgruine Stahlberg, which is a beautiful ruin of an old castle. When you're up there, you have a beautiful view over the whole valley. After that, we went back down and we had a reading of Selina Schuster, who I've also interviewed. And she has written a real modern Gothic novel, and it was also very atmospheric. We were in a winery and she's been reading the prologue and the first part of her first chapter of her novel. And after that, the others did a wine tasting. I didn't take part, I wanted to take a break, but later on there was the main point, the main event of the whole festival. It was again a reading of Roland Jankowski in the Peterskirche. This time he was reading vampire short stories, 4 of them in total. One of them I've been talking about on this channel as well. It's The Judge's House by Bram Stoker. He's also been reading another one by Bram Stoker and 2 more. and each of them were quite different. And in between, they had an organ playing, and that was very atmospheric as well. Everything was illuminated by the beautiful lights and by the candles, so you had the very perfect Gothic atmosphere. Around here in Bacharach, there's even the biggest European colony of große Mausohr Fledermaus. I have to look up the Latin and the English name. So it's suiting the whole scenery here as well. You have the moonlight, you have the Gothic cathedral, and you have the bats and all these castles and ruins, and it's just the perfect spot. So my impression was very, very good, and the festival is growing from year to year, so it's definitely worth coming back, I think. So I'm here today with the author of a real modern Gothic novel, Selina Schuster, who wrote this book, which is called Das Gemälde von Ashton Manor, in English, The Painting of Ashton Manor. As of yet, it has only been released in German, but we still want to discuss it today because it's a very intriguing novel. And if you want, you can just talk a little bit about the novel and introduce it to the readers.
Thank you.
Great.
Thank you for having me as well.
Yeah, of course. It's a pleasure.
Well, yes, The Painting of Ashton Manor is a classic and a modern Gothic novel. It takes place in the southern part of England, close to the city Rye, in a place called Romney Marsh. This place is quite gloomy, very, very dark, a lot of marshland, grey skies, brown grass. And in the midst of all this is Ashton Manor, an old manor house. And in this house lives Lord Ashton, who is quite ill as of now. Actually, he's on his deathbed, and his I wanted to say nephew, no, and his grandson Ian Ashton, who takes care of him since his grandfather took care of him and his younger sister when they were children because their parents died tragically very young. Two plot parts are quite important, one of which is that the younger sister of Ian Ashton, Celise, got missing when he was a child. And there is a creepy painting in the halls of Ashton Manor, which seems to follow Ian with his eyes. It's a painting of a very, very handsome, staggeringly handsome young man. And Ian feels a little bit followed by the views of the painting. And yeah, that's where the story starts. And I don't want to spoiler,
of course,
the things that are happening. But well, the missing sister is very important, and also the painting, which contains a secret.
Yes, and I found it very, very interesting and very suspenseful. And some of my questions are also concerning that. But I first would like to know what inspired you to write this story, and especially why did you choose a painting as the central plot device? Because I found that very great. It was a perfect fit.
I think when people think about Gothic literature and paintings, the picture of Dorian Gray comes to mind.
Oh, yes.
Where the painting starts to wither and to decompose for Dorian Gray. And since I am a big fan of Oscar Wilde, I like the idea that something is going on with the painting, and I changed that a little bit. What really inspired me to write the Gothic novel is, since I'm an English major, I had Gothic literature as one of my major subjects during my English studies. So I read Poe, and I read and other
other Gothic authors.
other Gothic authors. And I really, really liked how they build up tension with words. Since you can't visualize things like you do in a movie with pictures, you have to describe the things creepily that people get the thrilling feeling while reading it. And as I already said, I've been to Romney Marsh myself. And I really did not like it. It really had a creepy atmosphere. I did not feel well in this place. It really felt eerie, and that was the perfect location to put Ashton Manor in, a place where you really feel cold and uncomfortable.
So you really just took your own experiences of this haunting, eerie place and put them into words later after you've been there?
Yes, correct.
Wow. That was actually my second question about how you created this eerie atmosphere that was going throughout the whole novel. And I guess you already answered. Would you like to add something?
Well, yes, at least my own experience with this place. And to convey something that you felt yourself in a way is quite easy. So feeling cold, feeling all the goosebumps, everything is gray, everything is brown. You feel not very happy in this place, and I think it was quite easy to convey those feelings to the reader when one experienced them oneself.
Definitely. And what I also found very interesting was that actually most of the parts were just playing inside Ashton Manor itself, so in this huge building, this mansion, and you felt a little bit like Ian was trapped in it, protagonist, but then you also had all these scenes in the outside in the moors, the marshes, and you had this painting, and you knew there was something going on, and I think you captured that very well.
Thank you.
And the next question would also be about the suspense that you created, because I was really interested how you approached this, how you approached building the tension and like maintaining the mystery and the suspense throughout the novel. Do you have a plan when starting out on writing, or do you like really try to build the tension, or how do you go about that?
I actually always have a plan before writing, so I usually an idea pops in your head. The idea to this book was, okay, something is going on with this painting. Okay, how can you incorporate this into a real story? And so I plot the story from the beginning to the end with all the plot twists. And I think what I like to do in building tension is everything looks so normal in the beginning. Everything is fine. There's nothing wrong with it. And even when you realize, okay, there might be something wrong with it, maybe it's not true. It's just in your mind. Something might not be entirely all right with this painting, but what is really going on develops in tiny, tiny, tiny little steps. And I think that makes it intriguing for the reader, because you start to, or I hope that you start to question your own mind and your own perception of things. Like, okay, I didn't see that coming. So that's how I approach building up tension.
And you also hope that the reader feels that tension building up gradually.
Yes, I hope.
Steps. Okay.
I hope. I give it my best.
Yeah, as a reader, I felt that suspension growing, and like I think by the 2/3, I really couldn't stop reading. So I think you did that really well.
Thank you.
Now I also want to talk a little bit about classic Gothic literature. As you mentioned, you read those. So my question would be, do you have like a very favorite story or novel from classic Gothic literature?
Yes, I have two. One I like a little bit more, but the other is also very awesome. My second favorite is The Telltale Heart by Poe, and my all-time favorite is The Black Cat.
Oh yeah, I love that too.
Because they both incorporate for me the core of Gothic novels, the imp of the perverse, and also this playing with your mind and psyche. Was there really this heartbeat? And was this black cat really evil or some kind of harbinger of death or something? It's up to you to decide as the reader. Was this person crazy, or did really something supernatural happen in those stories? And that's something I really, really like about Gothic novels, or Gothic short stories in this case.
Yeah, I agree. And also, I think great is that you can always think about the story so much further after you've read it. You can think about it, and more details will come up, and you still question things. That's great. And do you also see like great differences between modern Gothic novels and classic Gothic novels? Do you think like the genre, the way it has developed, has changed a lot?
I think yes. I think we are a little bolder right now, since we don't have the constraints of time. So in my novel here, there is a homoerotic plot. I can say that. So the main character falls in love with another man, and that would be something that would have been unheard of in Victorian times. You could not depict it like that. Men kissing, unthinkable. Even though authors like Wilde played with it in some kind of way or hinted at it, you could never outright show it, talk about it. And I think that's something that we now have the possibility to do so, and I really like that.
I agree. And the last question would be, are you planning to write more Gothic novels in the future, or do you have other things or projects that you want to work on?
I really like writing Gothic novels and scary stories in general. Right now, I'm working on an urban fantasy story,
Oh, nice.
which takes place in a fictionalized version of Russia. So that's my next big project. It also gets very dark at points, and also tends to play with your mind and psyche. So it has gothic parts in it, I would say, but the overarching genre would be urban fantasy.
Okay, very nice. Thank you very much for the interview. It was very interesting. So last question, very last question. As of yet, the novel is only available in German.
Yes.
Do you think it would ever be available in English, or could you imagine publishing something in English just for the international people watching?
For the international people watching. I like writing in English, and I have actually written a few things in English. There was a discussion that the novel might be translated to English, but as of now, the plans are stalling. It would be awesome. So maybe in 1 or 2 years, if I'm lucky. Well, if we are lucky.
Then fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Have a nice evening.
So these were my impressions of the festival, the interview, the pictures, the videos. I hope you enjoyed it. And to wrap things up, I can just say that I really enjoyed the festival. It was a lot bigger than last year, and I'm also looking forward a lot to next year's festival because it will probably be held again. And it will maybe also be bigger than this year. So it's growing from year to year, and there's new ideas and new things coming, new events, new ideas, new people included. It's a gradual exploring of Gothic literature and all that it has to offer in this beautiful, romantic Gothic setting of Bacharach and the surrounding areas. So it's absolutely worth coming and checking out, and I already invite you to come along next year if you're interested. If you have any questions about the books and the authors that I mentioned, or about the festival in general, I will link everything below in the description of this video, and I hope you enjoyed the video. If you haven't yet and you stay till the end and consider subscribing to my channel, I would invite you to do so because it makes me very happy. And otherwise, I will see you in my next video next week. Bye bye!